Hey, hello, I'm Danny. Today I'm refuting the claim of a salary cap being needed for baseball players in the MLB to deter the monopoly of the game. My opponent's secondary claims were that a salary cap would provide equal opportunity for the teams. Second was a salary cap would affect the fans' participation due to inflation of ticket prices. And third was that the MLB is the only major league without a spending cap. My response to these claims are that they are ineffective in showing how a salary cap would benefit the MLB. I believe that a salary cap alone was not capable of providing equal opportunity for the teams. My challenge to my opponent's evidence is that my opponent claims that money alone influences players' decisions on the teams that they will sign with. However, there are many other elements that go into a player's decision on which team they will choose to sign with. The notion that the players pick the teams completely on monetary offers is weak. Some of the other topics that go into their decision for the teams that they sign with are the historic backgrounds of the teams, as well as also how that team might relate personally to the player as far as like their hometowns. The players who remain in the teams where they grew up at are regarded as hometown heroes, and there is a lot of respect that comes along with these players, and a lot of support that comes from everyone that lives in that town as well. So this is a huge incentive for players, showing that it's not just money that makes their decision. And also the notion that a salary cap would affect fans' participation due to inflation of tickets is also highly unsound. Price inflations merely are affected by the team's performance. This shows value. Teams that have performed well in recent seasons, such as the Lakers versus the Grizzlies, are an example of this. Fans' loyalty to a team being based on ticket prices is unheard of. Of course, a Laker game is going to cost more than a Grizzly game. This is because the Lakers are a highly regarded team, higher than the Grizzlies, both historically and athletically. Also, the Lakers' tickets are more expensive, but this doesn't deter fan participation, as my opponent states. In fact, according to TicketLuck.com, Laker tickets often sell out. Most fans still support the Lakers despite the price of the tickets, because of the fact that they are so successful, and many of these fans have been fans for years. It's unlikely that a fan would suddenly dislike a team because of ticket inflation. For instance, I am a huge fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I've never been able to afford to fly to go see them before, but that doesn't affect my support of the team or my participation with that franchise. My opponent also spoke about the effects that how the MLB is the only major league without a spending cap. This was the most unsound portion of my opponent's speech, as the numbers were very confusing. My opponent claims that the Pirates' total salary is $25 million. However, their highest player supposedly was receiving $20 million. This would only leave $5 million left for their total salary, so that was difficult to understand. My opponent also lacks showing the results desired when comparing to sports that do have salary caps. My opponent claims that salary caps have effects such as evening the playing field. However, many of the leagues that she mentioned in her speech, such as the NBA, haven't shown the results that she stated. The NBA has a spending cap. However, in recent years, the same teams have been represented over and over again in the playoffs. So in conclusion, a salary cap alone is not capable of providing equal opportunity for teams. The notion that a salary cap would affect the fans' participation due to inflation of ticket prices is unsound. And lastly, my opponent's use of monetary evidence was confusing, as the numbers were highly skewed. And thank you for listening to my refutation.
All right. You labeled the claim pretty clearly. The signpost on the first and the third points was pretty clear. The second point, I didn't think the transition was very smooth, too. It seems to me like most of the argument that you presented on all three of the supporting points could have been presented immediately after the speech. We talked about this, I think, a couple of times before, that it's the kind of argument that you give off the top of your head, immediately hearing the argument without any preparation time, because you've got some pretty good presses here, especially on the third point about whether or not it's had an impact in other leagues in creating some diversity and representation or something that's going to benefit the fans in one way or another. And I think that the challenges are reasonable. I think what you needed to do was develop a little bit of evidence to support some of those counterclaims. For example, you have got the hypothetical hometown hero, and I have no idea in baseball of a single person that would fit into that category, who grew up in the area, who played for that team, and then stayed with that team the whole time, and regardless of what they were being offered, once upon a time that was the case. Somebody got stuck with a team. I'm sorry, somebody was with a team forever. I shouldn't say stuck with a team, but they were with a team forever and they never seemed to move. But with free agency, that's substantially different. Like I said, on the third point, I thought you had a good argument here about the NBA. Where's the illustration that follows it up? You could mention, for instance, who are the teams that have won the NBA championship or played for the NBA championship in the last 10 years? Well, let's see. We got the Lakers and the Celtics, who combined between them have half of all the NBA championships, and that's since the time they've had the salary cap, pretty much it's just been a repetition of what used to exist before as well. So I think that's the way you want to follow up on that argument. All right, thank you.